Beginning. The file that changed everything. I had been on Verelian Prime for less than a day when the message arrived. A royal summons. Not the polite kind. Not the ceremonial kind. The urgent, sealed by the crown. Disobey die kind. The holographic seal flickered above my wristband. By decree of Queen Era the Valsha, human specialist Marcus Hale is commanded to present himself immediately in the throne bastion. I stared at it, half convinced it was a glitch. Me, just a human soldier with scars, a shaky service record, and more trouble than medals, summoned by the queen of one of the galaxy's most powerful empires? I couldn't even get a barista to say my name right. "What did you do?" my squad mate Jansen asked, leaning over my shoulder. "No idea. Humans don't get royal summons." I noticed. "You should run." I also noticed. But the order pulsed again, urgent, insistent. The Queen had read my personnel file. Every mission, every mistake, every classified moment I hoped had been buried. Something in there had caught her attention, and that terrified me more than any battlefield ever had. The throne bastion. The palace guards escorted me through towering obsidian halls. Verelians were a proud species, tall, sharp-featured, their skin adorned with glowing geometric strips that shifted with emotion. As I walked, their lights flickered gold with curiosity and blue with suspicion. "Human," one guard muttered. "The Queen must have an interesting reason." "What kind of reason?" I asked. He didn't answer. The throne bastion doors loomed ahead, 30 feet tall, etched with constellations and alive with shimmering energy. They opened silently, and I stepped into the throne room. It was vast, illuminated by crystalline pillars and floating holograms of ancient battles. At the far end sat Queen Era the Valsha. She was impossibly regal, silver hair braided with metallic threads, violet eyes sharp enough to cut stone, and an expression that made my knees want to buckle from across the room. Her advisors stood beside her, but she raised a hand and dismissed them. Only her gaze remained. "Human Marcus Hale," she said, her voice echoing like a command etched into the bones of the universe. "Step forward." I did. She didn't blink. "You're difficult to find," she said. "Even more difficult to categorize." "Ma'am, She held up a hand. I froze. "I have read your entire service file." My stomach dropped. All of it. Even the parts sealed under human high command encryption. My blood went cold. That meant she had access to things that not even I could access anymore. "I know what happened on the Arcos Rim," she continued. A battlefield of broken memories slammed into my mind. Screams. Fire. The evacuation gone wrong. The decision I made that saved lives and cost others. Your tactical choices were unorthodox, unpredictable, dangerous. "I know, Your Majesty." "You disobeyed 6 direct orders." "Yes, Your Majesty. But you saved 900 civilians." I hesitated. "Yes." Her gaze softened only slightly. "And then you vanished from official service for 14 months. "I was discharged," I said quietly. "You were exiled, Marcus Hale." Her voice dropped. "Because you cared more for lives than protocol." I swallowed hard. "Is that what my file says?" "No," she leaned back. "That is what I say." I stared at her. "Do you know why I summoned you?" she asked. "I'm beginning to worry." She smiled, barely, but enough to make my heart skip. "I summoned you because my empire is in danger, and you are the only one reckless enough to do what must be done. The mission no one else would take." She led me to a map table. A hologram ignited above it, showing a vast starfield with a blinking red cluster. "The Karath Dominion," the Queen said, "is preparing a strike on our borders." I frowned. That's not new. They always posture. This is more than posture. They have obtained forbidden technology. She tapped the map. A wave of red spread outward, erasing star systems as though they were dust. A quantum disintegration pulse, she said quietly. One that can collapse entire colonies. I stared in horror. That's not supposed to exist. It shouldn't, yet it does. And there is only one scientist who can disable it. Let me guess, I said. He's captured. She nodded. Dr. Marrow, your former mentor. My heart twisted. Cashin had been like a second father until the Arcos disaster tore everything apart. You want me to rescue him, I said.
No.
I want you to stop the Dominion's weapon. Her eyes locked onto mine. And Cashin may not survive the process. I went silent. The Queen studied me carefully. I read your psychological reports. You hesitate when the job is too personal. But you also defy orders when the stakes are life or death. That is why I chose you. So, I'm reckless and dependable? I muttered. Yes, she said simply. And that combination may save us all. She stepped closer, close enough that I could see the faint glow of her markings. I am not ordering you, she said softly. I am asking you. That startled me more than any command. Why ask? I whispered. Because if you do this unwillingly, you will die. And I do not wish for that outcome. I exhaled shakily. Cashin. The weapon. The war. The Queen who put her empire, and maybe her trust in me. I'll do it, I said. The Queen nodded once. I knew you would. But then she added something I didn't expect. And Marcus come back alive. The capture, and the truth about Cashin. The Dominion's outpost was a hidden fortress carved into the side of a dying planet. My infiltration team consisted of me. Apparently the Queen meant it when she said, reckless enough. I crept through hallways lit by crimson pulses, using stolen access keys and far too many risky shortcuts. Finally, I reached the central lab. Cashin Marrow sat inside a containment field, older than when I last saw him, but still unmistakable. His hair was whiter, his face more gaunt, but his eyes lit up the moment he saw me. Marcus, he breathed. You're alive? I smirked. Surprise. His expression melted into grief, regret, relief all at once. They forced me to build the weapon, he said. I didn't have a choice. I know, I said. The Queen sent me. He blinked. The Queen knows about me? She read my file. All of it. He winced. I'm sorry you had to live with that, Marcus. Save it for later, I said. We need to shut down this weapon. His face darkened. Destroying the weapon requires triggering a failsafe. That sounds dangerous. It is. The one activating it won't survive. I froze. That's why they kept me alive, he whispered. They need me to turn it on. And that's why the Queen sent me. I realized. Cashin nodded painfully. She knew you'd choose the solution that saves the most lives. Yeah, I said quietly. I hate that she's right. But Cashin grabbed my arm. No. She's wrong this time. The galaxy still needs you. Cashin. I ruined your life once. I won't let your death balance the scale. Before I could react, he slammed his hand onto the containment console. The field dropped. Alarms blared. Cashin, don't. He shoved a data drive into my palm. She trusts you, Marcus, he whispered. More than you trust yourself. What's on this? The shutdown sequence. You need to escape. I'll activate the failsafe. He ran before I could stop him. I chased him. I begged. I shouted. But he sealed the blast door between us. Through the glass, he pressed his hand to the window. Tell her, he said softly, that you did your duty. The chamber filled with light. And then he was gone. The return and the Queen's anger. I made it back to the throne world half alive, clutching the data drive like a dying star. The Queen stood waiting at the shuttle bay. Her eyes searched my face. Her markings dimmed with dread. Cassian, she whispered. I shook my head. Her jaw clenched. The room seemed to tilt with the force of her grief. She turned away sharply. Prepare the palace for. Your Majesty, I said quietly. He saved us all. She froze. That was the sentence that shattered her composure. She faced me again, eyes soft, vulnerable. For an exile, she whispered, you carry more loyalty than my own counsel. The admission felt like a weight and an honor all at once. I followed your request, I said, not your orders. And why, Marcus Hale? She asked softly. I swallowed. Because no one had looked at me with belief in years. Because she asked instead of commanded. Because she trusted a broken soldier with an impossible mission. But all I said was, because you believed I could. The Queen exhaled, a sound equal parts relief and sorrow. Then she stepped closer. I misjudged you, she said. Your file told me what you were. But today you showed me who you are. I didn't know what to say. So she continued, Marcus Hale. I straightened. She held out her hand, not regal, not distant, but human, offering something unspoken. You are no longer an exile, she said. Not to your people, not to mine. From this day onward, you stand as a protector of the Varelian crown. I felt my throat tighten, but then she added one more line, quiet, almost gentle. And I ask again, as Era the not as queen, come back alive. I am not finished needing you. For the first time in years, I felt like I belong somewhere. Ending. Cassian Marrow's sacrifice saved the Empire. The weapon was dismantled. The Dominion retreated. But the greatest change wasn't in the galaxy. It was in me. I arrived on Varelian Prime as a disgraced soldier. I stood before the Queen as a risk. But after the mission, she looked at me like an equal. Like someone worth trusting, worth summoning, worth saving. And as I left the throne room, I heard her voice, soft yet commanding. Marcus, your story is not finished.